Taurus, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early March 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Taurus collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Taurus collective in early March? We're moving through the year. Pretty quick speed, but it's all good. But let's see what energies, messages, insights we could take a little peek at. And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Taurus in early March. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's get this card out nice and quick. There we go. Ask and you shall receive. This card always makes me chuckle. And it's not inherently funny, but whenever I see a person with a tree growing out of their head, it just makes me crack a smile. This intriguing energy. There's not a lot of downside to it aside from overthinking, but this is like great for knowledge acquisition for some reason. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the March subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see here with the interesting image, we have this lovely lady. She has a little mask on. She is surrounded by books, but the main attraction is obviously the tree that is growing out of her head. And not only is it a tree, it's a fruit-bearing tree. So I usually think this is a good piece of symbolism. This to me represents great ideas or great thoughts or plans coming to fruition. So this is really great when a thought becomes a thing, or when the internal talk becomes something material. This is a great card for that. So bringing something to fruition. Whenever this shows up, I always say watch out for like great ideas, business ideas, eureka moments, whatever it is you might be going through. When this card shows up, it's like, aha, like a light bulb goes off like you see in cartoons. Now, again, this is great for knowledge acquisition. So if you're thirsting for information, thirsting for knowledge, whether it's spiritual or work related, whatever it might be, this is great for processing information. So I do like it. There is this little undertone of communication, especially with all the written words. So just keep that in mind. Communication or talks might be important, but this is more about the brain power, which I think is good. But watch out for the overthinking, especially when there's such a focus on information. You don't want to overload yourself with information. But we're just going to let her chill out. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Taurus. Our guides in early March. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was very intriguing. The reading was titled A Shocking Win. And the reason it was titled that is we had a tower, which I was a little skeptical about when it first came out, but it wound up being a good one. So I always say wins, victories, they come in all different shapes and sizes, whether it's like some really good days, something that might go better than expected, or even something completely out of the blue. For a lot of Tauruses, the energy was very, very positive, impossible for something like that to happen. So just know that energy could bleed over for a couple weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Taurus in early March. What do we got for our good friends? Magician. Okay. Saw a lot of the Magician in the Virgo reading. So it's funny how I'm talking about things coming to fruition and the internal becoming material. And then we get the Magician in position number 1. There is like this strong focus on manifesting. Let's get a couple more. Thank you. The High Priestess. Wow, what a combination. What a combination. Magician and High Priestess right next to each other. That is powerful stuff. Can't wait to see what the clarifiers are for this. Page of Swords. So observing. There is this energy that seems to be like absorbing information, where it's like there's a certain curiosity that I'm picking up this week, Taurus, unless it's Spirit trying to tell you to keep your eyes on something. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, I always like to look at the elements because I feel like it's important. It tells us how the energy is flowing or the areas of life that could be highlighted. And we start here with the magician, who has every element represented. He's the master of all elements, so that's a good thing. We got water and air showing up prominently. Now, both of these elements represent the internal world. And I like the mix. When it comes to the water, that's the realm of emotions and feelings and intuition. It's creativity, things or people that we care a great deal for. So it's emotional investment or that creative spark that we were speaking about as well. Water is really good for that. But the downside with water energy is that it's always ebbing and flowing. It's always hot and cold, up and down, black and white, just like with the high priestess. So we'll see what's up with that. The energy always seems to be in a state of change. Then we have air right here on the back. Air is very much tied into what we saw here in the very beginning, where it could speak about knowledge, the mind. It's very pragmatic, it's logical. Air ties in with strategy, information, taking in information. So that is another big theme we're seeing early on in the Taurus reading this week, especially with him looking at the high priestess, where it's like I'm analyzing, I'm watching, I'm taking in information, and also communication. But the downside with air is that sometimes it could be a little cold. Sometimes it could be a little detached. Sometimes the energy can run away on you, and can be a little mean. So we're just going to have to see what's up. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting the first of the dynamic duo with the magician. And I love this card, and it means a lot of different things. First and foremost, the magician, you see him there. He has his wand right up in the sky. All the elements are there. We got earth, water, fire, and air. So I love the complete aspect that we see with this card. And I always call him the master of all elements. Why would the magician be mastering all elements? He is drawing energy down into the wand and affecting the material world around him. So again, could this just be spiritual ritual? Could this just be spiritual practice or spiritual knowledge that you're searching for? Yeah, it can be that. But to me, it's turning energy into material. There's something here about manifesting and creating. Now, that is a topic that I could speak for hours about, manifesting and how to bring things in. This energy is very magnetic. So I love the magician here. But if we put all the manifesting and spiritual stuff to the side, not only is the magician magnetic, it represents control. So whether it's wanting to control your destiny, control how something goes, nothing wrong with that. But the downside to the magician, sometimes it could be a little too controlling, overly controlling. And sometimes this energy could show up when there's things that are out of your hands. So we'll take a look. Moving to the middle, we have the perfect bookend for this magician because it's very similar, but it approaches everything in a much different way. We have the beautiful high priestess herself, big Pisces vibes, and we are currently in Pisces season. I also give this to the other water signs too. She is the matron of psychics, intuitives, and tarot readers. She's all about your gut intuition, energetic sensitivity, dream states, psychic gifts of all time, of all kinds, and just spiritual practice. So you see what I mean? We have the magician and we have her. There's like a lot of spiritual work or stuff happening on the energetic realm, even if you can't quite see it. There's just so much potent spiritual energy floating around the Taurus collective, which is a good thing. Now, another thing with the high priestess, notice she always has that volume of sacred law open on her lap. So she is the keeper and holder of knowledge, sacred knowledge, and she's quiet about it, right? She's keeping it to herself. So whereas this magician is being very proactive and trying to do this and trying to control that, the high priestess is approaching it in a much quieter, controlled type of way, like she already knows how something is going to go. The downside to the high priestess, she could be very secretive. She could be very quiet. She can represent the unexpected, unknown, surprising. So we do want to look at her further because she's a big player in this spread. Now, moving to the back end, we have the Page of Swords, the Watcher of the tarot deck. Now, for some of you, this could be an air sign you're connected to. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It could be a younger individual as well with the Page of Swords. And I always say with all pages, they represent communication, but also students learning, right? It's a fresh energy. It's new. There's a certain vibrant energy connected to this page. But this one is a little bit defensive. This one has its guard up. So whether that's advice from spirit or how someone's acting, it's a little bit defensive. It's very cautious. It's a skeptical type of energy. And I think I already mentioned it's called the Watcher of the tarot deck. So there could be something that spirit wants you to keep a very close eye on, or maybe someone's keeping an eye on you. There might be someone observing. There's like a level of surveillance here. But notice the page is watching all this. It's looking for the hidden. It's looking what's in plain sight. There's like this surveillance. So I want to dive deeper on all of this, Taurus. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. What do we got for Taurus, please? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the Magician. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Taurus, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the Magician here? Why is the Magician here, please? Cool. It's like I'm editing the past, or I'm wanting to edit the past. This is one of two things here. Either somebody is trying to manifest a redo, where it's like, let's try that again, or I want to give that another go. Or it's like I'm trying to change the past. Now, I do know, and again, I don't want to get too far off track. There are certain methods when it comes to manifesting about editing the past. If you look at like Neville Goddard's teachings about altering past memories that can help you move forward and attract things in that you want. When I see the Magician with the Six of Cups in reverse, it's like I'm removing something negative from my subconscious mind and I'm replacing it with something positive. So there's this energy that seems to be rewriting the past. I know that's very specific. Only take it if it hits. But if we put that in-depth message to the side, when I see the Magician with the Six of Cups, either one, it's someone purposely trying to manifest a redo, where it's like, let's try this again, or this someone subconsciously manifesting a return of some kind, where it's like, I'm going to relive this cycle again, even if they're not purposely trying to do it. So just watch out in this time for being stuck in certain cycles, whether it's work, business, personal relationships. There is this energy that's wanting or trying to give something another go. I know that was a lot. So again, we'll talk about it more during the recap. Either someone editing the past or removing negative memories purposefully, or it's this energy where it's like, I'm getting a redo or a return on something. I want to try something again. So we're going to keep going. See what the High Priestess has to say about all that. I mean, the energy is very active. So, I mean, I guess for some of you, if there is something you want to experience again, the energy is good for you to bring that in. But let's go in on the High Priestess. I don't want to get too specific here, right? Because I always get that, especially in Taurus readings where it feels like I'm doing a personal. I don't want to get too hyper specific, but let's see what the High Priestess has. Why is she here for Taurus? Okay. So to me, with the Ace of Swords, that's the sword of truth. And remember, I was speaking about the High Priestess being very quiet, very hush hush, very secretive. This is an energy that's either one, an investigator, where it's like, I'm digging for this information, I have to know the truth, or two, it's like an unexpected or surprising talk or conversation. Because with her, the hidden energy, and then we have the Page and Ace of Swords, so there's like all this energy about discussing things that I wasn't expecting to discuss, or conversations coming up in a very surprising or unexpected way. So I would say in this time, whether it's a message, an email, a talk, a phone call, whatever it might be, there's this certain mystery around communication that's showing up here. Now, the Ace of Swords also, and I know I said there's like this investigation type of energy I'm picking up with the Watcher, the Tarot deck, looking at the High Priestess. The Ace of Swords coming up in the upright underneath the High Priestess, where it's like, I will get to the bottom of this. So there is a curiosity. I'm not saying it's definitely you. Maybe it's somebody else. They're curious about what you got going on or what you're doing. It's like, I'm digging for information, digging for information, digging for information. So if this is part of the journey you're on right now, where you're trying to understand something better or connect the dots, there's nothing wrong with that. But I do also see those surprising or unexpected talks coming in. So we're just going to keep it moving. Very simple, straightforward. Totally different than what we have here up front, where it's like, no, this is what I'm creating, but I'm acting like I'm not. So it's like two sides of a coin. Let's just keep going. I don't want to mix the message. I don't want to cross wires here. But this is making me feel quite a lot this week. But let's go in on the Page of Swords. And we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. Thank you. Why is this energy so skeptical? This energy is so cautious, very skeptical. Now, for some of you, that could be advice. You ever hear the phrase, be careful what you wish for? I don't know why that's coming to me right now, but I'm just going to say that again. When I see the Fool in reverse under the Page of Swords, it's like, oh, be careful about that, Taurus. Like, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes the grass isn't greener. I'm not sure why I'm saying that, or someone else could be experiencing that, right? I mean, that doesn't definitely have to be you. But we have the Fool in reverse underneath the Page of Swords. Now, I think this could be good because usually the Fool in the upright, it's fresh, it's new, it's optimistic, but it can also be pretty damn reckless. So when I see it in reverse underneath the Page of Swords, it is very cautious, hyper cautious, not very trusting. So whether it's you being that way or somebody else, like this is an energy that for sure has its guard up and it's like very skeptical. It's like testing the water with something. Or again, this could be advice from spirit saying either be careful what you wish for or be careful with this. And you would know what this is, right? You would know better than me. There's a lot of Tauruses out there. There could be a person or a situation or something that spirit just wants you to keep an eye on it. Be careful with it. Be cautious. Like move forward in whatever way you think is best, but be cautious moving forward because this energy isn't a live wire. It's not going wild. Let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. We got a lot of stuff happening here. Um, Interesting energy around communication. But position number one, we have the Magician with the Six of Cups in reverse. Huge energy around magnetically pulling stuff in and manifesting. So to me, this is someone that wants to try to give something another go, and they might be manifesting it without even realizing. It could be someone purposely doing it too, where it's like, I want to give this another go. Watch out for subconsciously being trapped in certain cycles as well, because it could be someone that's like keeping themselves in a certain loop and they're not even trying to. And then I got this very specific one about somebody trying to alter their memories, where it's like, I'm going to remove that negative brick, I'm going to put a positive brick in here, where it's like I'm altering the past. And that is a manifestation technique. Moving to the middle, we have the High Priestess with the Ace of Swords in the upright. Cool. Now, this could either just be an unexpected or a surprising talk or message coming in. Nothing wrong with that. But it also feeds into this searching, this curiosity, this investigation type of energy that I've been picking up. So, again, whether you're on the receiving or giving side of that, keep that in mind. Because to me, it's like somebody digging for information. Moving to the back end, we have the Page of Swords with the Fool in reverse. This energy is very cautious. Maybe this is spirit advising you, like, hey, be cautious as you move forward. Be very particular about something. Nothing wrong with that. Um, but yeah, this energy also gave me be careful what you wish for some reason. So do with that what you will, Taurus. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay. Let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going here. What do we got? Okay. Yeah, all right. So that's good. That's one of your power cards. And there has been this underlying spiritual theme we've been picking up too. Hierophant. And remember, with the Magician, the High Priestess, these are all powerful, major spiritual figures. So I like that. Again, any spiritual endeavor is perfect for a Taurus. Now, with this being your power card, showing up in the shadows, I usually think is a good thing when you get your power card in the shadows. It could speak about things like self confidence. So keep that in mind. There could be something where spirits like stay confident, stay firm with something. That's a good thing. The downside to the Hierophant, though, if we're going to talk about the real shadow side of it, is that it's not very flexible. It's an energy that's like very long term, but it's traditional. It's risk averse. It's not very flexible, and it can be stubborn. So watch out for stuff like that. And this could represent situations that you may have been dealing with for a while or could deal with for a very long time. So again, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, especially since this is a Taurus reading, but maybe there is something Spirit is advising you to be a little more flexible with. So we're just going to leave it at that, Taurus. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. of the March subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight into your situation and you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The March calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the March subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 subscribers to win either a copy of the Everyday Witches Tarot, beautiful deck, or handmade crystal pendant, which I showcase at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, what zodiac signs do you get along best with? Which ones are your favorite? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.